when we don't give our no's to the world as a complete sentence, we're not giving people the gift to get to know who we really are. And if we're not saying no, then how can people really truly know who we are?
They were afraid to say no to their friends because they didn't want to be perceived as the P word or the B word or whatever else. It's we're terrified of standing up for what is really aligned and what we're thinking about, because what are the consequences of that? And am I going to be abandoned or am I going to be hurt? Hey everybody, it's Bianca.
And it's Emilia.
Welcome to another episode of Evolve Ventures, where we are helping growth minded humans evolve by breaking one limiting belief at a time. We hope you enjoyed the last episode, number 301, Motivation Monday. Building mental resilience never does you dirty. For today, 302, no is a complete sentence. Can I be frank?
Please.
I have been a coward most of my life.
Love it.
And I say that not in a shaming way. I say that in a very loving way to my younger self,
Yeah.
because that unhealed part of me never felt deserving enough to say no.
Yeah.
She never felt like it was okay to ask for what she needed, to state her boundaries, to even know what it was that she wanted or needed, because she felt like she had to appease anyone and everyone else in order to get any type of love or validation or attention or acceptance. And
Mm.
up until, honestly, last year,
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't say no for anything. It was always an over explanation. It was always, oh, well, I'll let you know. Okay, yeah, let me think about it. Or, some other hesitant answer,
Yeah.
because I was so terrified of speaking my truth and saying, you know what, I don't want to,
Mm-hmm.
or that's not aligned for me, or I'm not comfortable with that, or just flat out saying no.
Mm-hmm.
That was terrifying. And so many of us go through that. And it's so destructive.
It is. Yeah. When I hear no as a complete sentence, what comes up for me and what I recognize that it triggers a lot of I would say sexual abuse history and a lot of the topic around consent. And I think that it's such an emotionally charged topic that we don't talk about enough. And not just from the frame of consent in terms of like the sexual boundaries and setting a healthy boundary of not doing what you want to do. And I love the fact that we're expanding this not away from, but including other areas to where there needs to be consent. And this is something as simple as a social gathering. This is something as simple as personal preference. This is something as simple as even when you're offered a suggestive drink at a bar or a something on the menu at a restaurant when you're on a date. I think consent is such an incredible, powerful tool that so many of us do not feel as though we have the power to give ourselves. And there's so much conditioning that's around this, especially for the female gender. And I will genderify this a little bit because of my own personal experiences. And removing that genderification just for a moment, going back to kind of the place that we were, it is even bigger for all of us. I know we've all experienced times because of the social capacity of the needing or the feeling as though you need to say yes or you need to get along with your tribe or your friends or your clique or your coworkers. It's such a social belonging issue that is really at the crux of this. It doesn't matter when it comes to your gender. And the thing here is because no is a complete sentence and there's no need to justify, but there's a feeling of needing to justify because of our conditioning. It just feels like such a flat sentence. It just like drops on its face. And like there's this need to do something, justify why we're saying no. But the thing is that's here is that we're saying no because we don't consent to that or that's not aligned or it's not of in alignment with our values. And I think that taking that frame of mind when we talk about that is really, really critical.
I think this really ties into the concept of selfishness,
Mm-hmm.
that we are all so terrified of um, acknowledging our needs and putting our needs first because of the really backwards social conditioning that putting yourself first is super selfish. And if you're selfish, you're a terrible person, or there's something wrong with you, or you're not going to fit into the tribe to what you're saying. So, even like you used females as an example, I'll use males. How many men have put themselves in really stupid situations because they were afraid of saying no in the pack that they were in?
So
They
true.
were
I've
afraid
mm-hmm.
they were afraid to say no to their friends because they didn't want to be perceived as, you know, the P word or the B word or whatever else. It's we're terrified of standing up for what is really aligned and what we're thinking about, because what are the consequences of that? And am I going to be abandoned or am I going to be hurt?
Yeah. It's
You
so
know,
exhausting.
kids are really good at saying no,
No, yeah.
and then they're conditioned out of it.
Yeah.
Significantly, they're conditioned out of it. When we grow up and we just say, "No, I don't want to." People look at you like you have six heads. It's like, "Wait, what do you mean?" Because we're so used to the over explanation, we're so used to the justifying to appease other people's emotions. And now
Yeah.
we're not saying that like you have to be rude about it.
No.
We're like, "No." Like you can say it in a kind way. You can be firm and kind.
Mm-hmm.
Just make sure you're being firm.
Facts.
Hi everyone, my name is JC DaCosta and I just wanted to tell you a little bit about Evolve Ventures and to let you know that it is a community where you can be your authentic self. I personally have experienced a place where I can tell my story and know that I'll find somebody who has shared a similar experience. It's a community of empathy, of leadership, of growth, of opportunity, and it's just a phenomenal community with budding and growing leaders who have a voice. And it's a forum and a platform for all of this good conversation, and it's meaningful conversation. So I am grateful for Evolve Ventures and its leadership, and thank you so much for listening to my spot. Take care.
I wonder, like, anyone that listens to this, I always love like adding a little challenge in our episodes for anyone who wants to evolve a little bit, because this is something that I just reflected in and made an agreement within myself. For the next 7 days, I'm going to consciously and intentionally increase my rate at which I say no. So that there's more awareness around how little I am actually saying no. So, like, for example, we have used this before in episodes where it's like, oh, you're in a grocery line and they're like, do you want to donate to Hearts of whatever? And you're like, no. How many people add an excuse with that or add a feeling of guilt after that? There's like a mental toll that comes that you're ruminating on in the car after you say no. How many people, like, if you're going to get your nails done You know, do you want color nail polish? No, I just want clear, right? Like there's so much here for us to really recognize that when we don't give our no's to the world as a complete sentence, we're not giving people the gift to get to know, KNOW, who we really are. And if we're not saying no, then how can people really truly know who we are and how to work with us and how to honor us as human beings? We literally can't.
And you can't respect yourself if you're saying yes to everything out of fear.
Right.
The reason we struggle to say no is because we're afraid of other people not liking us. But do you like you? What's your relationship to you? Because the
Mm,
people who have the strongest relationships to themselves aren't as concerned. I'm not going to say they're not concerned because we all have concerns about the opinions of others, but they're not as concerned with someone getting upset with them because they honored their boundary.
right.
Because they know, yeah, maybe they're uncomfortable, but they know that it's going to serve them in their greatest good.
I'm thinking about my future children.
Mm.
And I'm thinking about how important it is for me to make sure that I model this by example and how much of a learning curve it's going to have to be for me to make sure. Because I might be saying no inside, but then I say yes outside, right? Like for a small example, Alan had said, like, tonight we're going out to dinner with his mother, the
Mm.
OG Beth. And I'm very much looking forward to that. I miss her terribly. And I a little bit earlier we were strategizing our day and he's like, so I think I'm going to be working late. I don't think that we're going to be able to go for a walk, which was our exercise for the day, until afterwards. And I was like, I don't want to. I would much prefer to go during the day because it's springtime and I want to get, some beautiful outdoor springy time in my blood. I need it in my veins. It makes me
The
so
sunshine and rainbows.
right? It makes me so joyful. And so even just that, voicing that preference and voicing the no was so critical because if I'm not doing that, whatever my children observe and experience, they're going to model, right? So if I wasn't open to the belief that this episode is suggesting for all of us that no is a complete sentence, if I didn't have that belief, what are the chances my behaviors are actually going to model that for my children and for even like if my sister or my brother have children, like the nieces and nephews, if that ends up coming to fruition. So maybe it's not you that you're willing to say no for, but maybe through me sharing what's going on inside of me as we talk about this, maybe there's an alternative why power that can inspire you to be even more outward about you setting boundaries and you embodying this belief that no is a complete sentence because there's people who look up to you. If you're someone who's evolving, which is the case, Bianca, there's people that look up to you more than they'll ever let you know. There's people that are listening to this podcast that look up to them more than they'll ever know and get credit for. And it's how we choose to operate our day-to-days that influence, for better or for worse, the other, like how the world becomes a better place or not, and how much we stand up for ourselves and embody the fact that no is a complete sentence in our day to day. I think there's something really special about that.
I love that so much. Oh,
We're in the feels.
that definitely is. That's become my why power more than anything lately.
Yeah.
It's what would I want for my future daughter or my future son? And
Oh,
like what's the life that I want to give to
oh.
them?
Yeah.
And is what I'm doing now going to allow me to, from a really authentic place, be the right mother for them?
Right.
Giving them the things that I wish that I had.
Mm-hmm.
Because my mom didn't know better. She
Yeah.
really didn't. She had no access to the information that we now have. And she did the best that she can. And now I owe it to my future babies and everyone listening here.
Mhm.
to honor myself and to honor my boundaries and to do what I know in my heart is the most aligned thing for me. And
Mhm.
that comes with saying no to the wrong things so I
Yeah.
can say yes to all of the right ones.
I love that you included that. One of the things that really shifted my paradigm around this when I was in such a heavy conditioned pattern of people pleasing was saying yes to one thing says no to 1,000, a million other things. And just like that, when you say no to one thing, you say yes to a million other things. So if I were to say, no, I don't want to go for a walk later, I'm saying yes to all of the parts of me that want to be represented by me by saying no. And that is so
Mhm.
empowering. It is so huge. And it flips the script for a lot of us when we're in that people pleaser phase or being or conditioned habit. And I think it's so empowering. It's a good
Hmm.
one. It's a good one.
That's a good one. What's your episode suggestion?
My episode suggestion is 281 Motivation Monday, how to tell hard truths. And maybe the hard
Oh.
truth is just your no. So get freaking good
Mm.
at it, y'all. Let's do this. You?
Mm. 270, why we engage in self-harm. If you are somebody who wants to get better at saying no, the Evolve Ventures You Do You program is 100% the program for you to start learning how to slowly but surely honor your boundaries, to identify
Mhm.
your boundaries first and foremost,
Thank you.
and then to honor them in a way that feels right for you. If it is something that you are interested in, please get down in the DMs or go to evolveventurestech.com/therapy and all of the information is there. All right, everybody. Have a beautiful weekend and we will talk to you all soon. Bye,
Bye,
everyone.
everyone.